She wasn't making conversation. She was making a decision. Those two questions she asked you, the ones that felt casual, almost throwaway, were anything but. She had been watching you for a while before she asked them, measuring your energy, feeling the weight of your presence, deciding whether what she was drawn to in you was real or just surface. And then she asked, and in the 30 seconds it took you to answer, she made up her mind about whether this was going somewhere or nowhere. The terrifying part? You probably didn't know you were being evaluated. You thought you were just talking. You weren't just talking. You were being read, and how you answered determined everything that came after. You have the experience, but you keep losing in the moments that count. Here's something that doesn't get said enough about older men in the dating world. You have things that younger men simply don't. Stability, depth, a quality of presence that only comes from having actually lived through things. Loss, failure, reinvention, the slow accumulation of knowing who you are. Women feel this. They're drawn to it in a way they sometimes can't even fully articulate. But then something happens in the actual interaction. The connection that felt promising starts to flatten. The energy that was building plateaus, and she pulls back, not dramatically, not with explanation, just quietly, the way tide goes out. And you're left wondering what shifted. Here's what most older men don't realize. The attraction a younger woman feels toward an older man is real, but it comes preloaded with specific fears. Fears she needs answered before she can move forward. And those fears don't announce themselves as fears. They show up disguised as casual questions. Two specific questions. Questions she asks every time. Questions that sound like small talk but function like a psychological examination. If you understand what she's actually asking, underneath the words, beneath the surface, you stop fumbling those moments. You start meeting her where she actually is. That's what today is about. Number 1. Why she tests at all. The psychology behind the questions. Before we name the two questions, you need to understand the emotional architecture she's operating from. Because without that context, even correct answers will feel mechanical. A woman who is drawn to an older man is navigating something genuinely complex. The attraction is instinctive. She feels it before she can justify it. But the mind follows quickly behind with concerns. What will people say? Is this sustainable? Does he actually see me? Or does he see youth, admiration, the way I make him feel relevant? These are not small fears. They are the difference between opening up and staying protected. So she tests. Not out of cruelty, not as a game, but because she has learned, through her own history of choosing wrong, that feelings alone are not enough information. She needs to know something real about who you are before she risks anything genuine on you. The two questions she asks are designed to answer the fears she cannot voice directly. Understanding this transforms your entire experience of the interaction. She isn't interrogating you. She is extending an invitation, offering you the opportunity to show her something true. Most men miss the invitation entirely because they're answering the surface question instead of the real one underneath it. 2. The first question. What does your life look like now? She might not use those exact words. It might come out as, are you close with your kids? What do you actually enjoy these days? Do you still see your old friends? The phrasing varies. The question beneath it never does. What she is actually asking is this. Is your life open enough for someone new, or have you already sealed everything shut? This fear is one of the most consistent ones younger women carry into attraction with older men. The fear that his life is a completed structure, that his routines are calcified, that his children, his ex-wife, his career, his established social world have already filled every available space, and that she would have to exist on the margins of it, present but not integrated, wanted but not truly included. She asks about your life because she needs to feel its temperature, whether it's warm and living and still moving forward, whether there are chapters still being written or only chapters being defended. The wrong answer has nothing to do with what you own or where you've been. The wrong answer is rigidity. Is a life described in past tense? Is a man who talks about what he has rather than what he's still becoming? The right answer shows her elasticity, curiosity, the sense that while your foundation is solid, the structure above it is still being built, that there is genuine space, not manufactured space, real space, for something and someone new. 3. What she's listening for, beyond your words. Here's where it gets layered. She is not just evaluating the content of your answer, she is evaluating how you hold yourself while you give it. Do you answer with ease? A man comfortable enough in his own life to describe it without needing to impress? Or do you tighten slightly, becoming a presenter of your accomplishments rather than a person sharing his reality? Do you speak about your life with warmth, with a little humor, with the honest acknowledgement that some things are still imperfect and you're okay with that? Or does your answer feel curated, managed, like a resume delivered in casual clothing? She has been read to by enough men to know the difference between someone sharing and someone performing. And the moment she detects performance, the moment your answer feels designed rather than genuine, something closes in her. Not because she expected perfection, but because she needed realness. And realness just got replaced with presentation. Be real. Specifically, authentically, imperfectly real. That is the only version of yourself that actually passes this part of the test. 4. The second question. What did your past relationship teach you? Again, she might ask it differently. Why do you think things didn't work out before? Have you been hurt badly? Do you think people can really change after a certain age? Different words, same question underneath. What she is actually asking is, did life make you wiser or did it make you closed? This is the fear that runs even deeper than the first one, because a woman considering real emotional investment in an older man is aware that he has history, significant history, relationships that ended, pain that accumulated, perhaps a marriage that dissolved, perhaps years of a version of love that turned into something bitter or hollow. And what she needs to know, what she is scanning for with this question, is whether that history became wisdom or whether it became armor. A man who learned from his past is magnetic. He doesn't repeat it. He carries it with honesty. He can speak about where he went wrong without assigning all blame elsewhere. He is neither defined by his history nor running from it. A man who is hardened by his past is a different story, and she can feel the difference before you finish your first sentence. 5. The worst possible answer and why men give it. Most older men, when asked about past relationships, make one of two mistakes. The first is the practice speech, a polished, slightly rehearsed narrative about the relationship that positions him as reasonable and her as the problem. It sounds mature on the surface, but it has a rehearsed quality, like it's been delivered before, adjusted for maximum palatability. And she registers that as emotional unavailability wearing the costume of self-awareness. The second mistake is the opposite extreme. The unprocessed wound that gets opened right there in the conversation. The bitterness that seeps through despite attempts to contain it. The moment where you said you were fine with everything, but your eyes told a completely different story. Neither of these is what she's hoping for. What she's hoping for is something rarer, grounded honesty. The ability to say something real about your past without either sanitizing it or bleeding all over her with it. To say, that period was genuinely hard, and here's what it showed me about myself, and mean it. Both parts, the hard and the learning. That combination, vulnerability paired with integration, is what tells her this man has been through things and came out more whole, not less. That is exactly who she was hoping you'd be. 6. Why these two questions come as a pair. It's not accidental that she asks both, and it's not accidental that the order tends to be consistent. Life first, past second. Together, these two questions are building a single composite picture. Question 1 tells her about your present. Question 2 tells her about how your past shaped you. And together, they answered the one thing she's really trying to determine. Is this man someone I can actually build something real with? Or is he going to disappoint me in the specific ways that the men before him disappointed me? She's not being cynical, she's being careful. There's a profound difference. And when both answers land right, when your present sounds like something living and your past sounds like something learned from, the relief she feels is almost physical because she found what she was looking for. She can stop measuring and start being present. That shift from her evaluating you to her actually being with you is everything. And you can feel when it happens. 7. The energy underneath the answers matters more than the answers. This is perhaps the most important thing in this entire video. She is not grading your answers on content. She is grading them on energy, on the felt sense of who you are while you're talking. Are you defensive? Slightly guarded? Does a particular part of either question make you shift in your seat or choose your words with more than normal care? She notices, not because she's suspicious, but because her nervous system is exceptionally good at detecting the places where someone is managing rather than revealing. Alternatively, are you grounded, unhurried? Does your body stay easy and open while you talk about things that could be difficult? Do you make eye contact naturally rather than strategically? That groundedness, that ease in your own skin, even when the conversation goes somewhere real, is the most attractive thing an older man can project. It says, I have been through enough that I am not afraid of a real conversation. And for a woman who is used to men who deflect or perform when things get slightly deep, that ease is extraordinary. 8. After you answer, what she needs from you next. Here is what most men miss entirely about these moments. They answer the question, and then they wait. Or they pivot to something lighter. Or they fill the silence that follows with more of their own words because the quiet feels like it needs to be managed. What she actually needs after a real answer is a real question back, not a deflection, not a subject change. A genuine, curious question directed at her. Something that says, I'm not the only one worth knowing in this conversation. What about you? What did your last real relationship show you about what you actually need? Do you think people are capable of real change? Or do you think we just get better at managing who we already are? These questions do something powerful. They turn the dynamic from an interview into a conversation. They tell her that your curiosity about yourself is matched by your curiosity about her. And for a woman who asked 2 questions specifically to find out if you were genuinely self-aware, discovering that you're also genuinely curious about her inner world is an unexpected gift. She wasn't expecting to be asked. Most men don't ask. And the ones who do, the ones who turn the mirror around with genuine interest, become unforgettable in a way that purely impressive men rarely are. She was testing you because she wanted you to pass. Let that land for a second. The 2 questions weren't traps. They were opportunities wearing the disguise of casual conversation. She asked because she was already drawn to you, because something in you had already done something to her nervous system before a single word was spoken. And she needed to know, desperately, quietly needed to know, whether the substance matched the surface. You now understand what she was really asking. You understand the fears underneath the questions. You understand what it means to answer with realness rather than performance. And you understand what to do in the moment after, how to turn a test into a genuine connection by becoming curious about her in return. The next time those questions come, and they will come, you'll be ready. Not with practiced answers, with genuine presence. And that is the only thing that was ever going to work anyway. If this video gave you something real today, if you finally understand what was happening in moments that used to just feel confusing, subscribe. Every week on this channel, we go deep into the psychology of attraction, connection, and what it actually takes to build something meaningful with another human being. The real conversations, the honest ones, the ones that actually help. You're not here by accident, and neither is she.